And before that on 4, superstitions alive and well in Iceland, as Pete McCarthy is desperately seeking something in the last of the series.
Björk's mum, Hilda, says that the first time she heard a Tibetan bowl, she already recognised the sound. To her ear, it had the same frequency as the landscape of her country. Many people say that the Icelandic landscape sings or speaks to them. When the country became Christian rather late in the day in 1000 AD, Astraru, the old pagan religion, was so popular that the king agreed people could follow both. And the Icelanders still do.
They don't tell the future.
What do?
They tell the now.
I'd heard stories of elves and trolls. I had a lot of questions.
You're asking questions that are not the real question. The real question are hidden to you.
You have to go inside yourself for the answer.
You simply use the power.
Let go. Let go inside yourself. Find air and find the great goddess of love.
I headed north and west from Reykjavik to the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, where I was met by the local mayor.
Most people have the opinion that we are sharing this world with some other creatures.
This seemed unusual. I decided to check with the university.
We have trolls, few reports of people that have seen trolls, and 2 reports of people that have communicated with trolls, recent reports. There are dwarves, gnomes, light fairies.
They use the stones. It's strange.
The peninsula in the west of Iceland is widely believed to be the most magical place in the country. It's said to be a spot of enormous positive energy, but evil things happen here too. Iceland's only ever serial killer murdered 18 people near here in the 1850s with an ice pick. He's widely attributed with coining the phrase, "Do you mind if I pick your brains?" This is also a top spot for historians. Just along the coast from here is Iceland's oldest concrete church, built in 1903. There are only about 250,000 people in the whole of Iceland, and 97% of them are Lutheran Christian. But it's a bit more complicated than that, as you find out if you listen to their hymns. Most people in Iceland believe in elves or hidden people. They're said to inhabit a parallel dimension to the human world and can only be seen by certain people. It occurred to me that if there are elves, this is exactly where you'd expect to find them. Even the dustbin men looked like Santa's helpers.
But I soon realised that I wasn't taking the Icelanders' beliefs seriously enough. They're rooted deep in the collective psyche and are driven by a passion for their otherworldly landscape. The elves are believed to inhabit certain rocks known as elf stones. The stones and other elf-related matters are the subject of a special research department at the University of Reykjavik.
Well, we have the Elf School and the Elf Research Institute here in Reykjavik. We gather stories of people's experience, of those who have seen the elves and hidden people and trolls and other invisible beings that seems to live here. So far we know there are two nations living in Iceland. The Icelandic nation that has 270,000 inhabitants, which everybody know. And then there's one invisible nation that is called the hidden people. They have totally the same size. People usually have to have psychic ability to see them.
I went to meet a man who claimed to have encountered an elf weeping outside his house. He seemed quite positive about what he'd seen.
It was 3 years ago. They were building this house, and there was rocks under the ground.
Right. They were throwing the rocks away?
Yes.
Moving them away?
Yes.
Yeah?
And I saw a young woman. She was sitting there, and she was crying. And I asked her why she was crying. And she told me she lives there, lives here, and people was building. It's too close.
Too close to her home?
Yes, to her home.
Yeah.
And she was not happy. And I said to her, I help you. I talked to the people in this village here.
Yeah.
To don't build a house on this place.
His appeal was taken seriously by the local planning department.
The house which was going to be built right to the stone, it was moved slightly. No big harm.
When there are stones, when they are planning roads, then psychic people say that in this particular rock is a hidden people or elves living. Then they always move the road.
So the house which is going to be built on the right side of the stone, it's number 77. The stone has the number 79, and the house on the left is going to be number 81. So people are going to have good neighbors there.
If you harm these people in their homes, the cost of all constructions there double or triple. So everybody moves the road, the bridges, whatever the constructions are.
And now there's not house here.
And who do you think it was? Who was the girl? A spirit person?
Yeah. Yes.
Elf? Do you say elf?
Yes,
Yeah.
elf, yes. Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah?
There's elf everywhere here.
Really?
Yes, over there, in these hills here. We are here and they are here too. And
At the same time?
Yes, everybody is happy.
No one I met felt threatened by the presence of the elves. On the contrary, it seemed a cause for rejoicing. Iceland may be a remote island in a cold, deep sea, but these are modern, educated, internet kind of people for whom the spirit dimension is just a fact of life. And even those who don't profess to believe seem reluctant to say it isn't true.
But there's no reason not to believe.
No reason not to believe. Why reject things you don't know?
Because if you do, you are in trouble.
Few months after I moved to this parish as a minister, a young man came to me, and the story he had to tell me was he had been fishing in his boat, and he bound the boat to the stone. People here in this village had warned him. 2 weeks later, his wife fell and broke her arm. And that was not all, because 3 weeks later, the house was on fire. I told him I am not used to speak to elves in stones. And I went to the stone and I prayed for them and it stopped. That's all I have to tell you about this.
Sometimes when these psychic humans come to the rocks where they live, they don't see the rock, they see house. Just normal house. People come out there and talk with them, have a chat. And we've asked them, why do you live usually in rocks? And there was a strange answer we got. They claimed that there's more stable energy in big, solid lava rock stones. And the bigger the stones are, the better. And the older the rock is, the better.
The rock and the house is the same name. Dvergasteinn.
Elf rock.
Elf rock.
Yes, the rock and the house.
I've been studying this for 13 years, and today there is no doubt at all in my mind that the hidden people nations does exist, and all of these invisible beings, they live here in other dimensions. Under certain circumstances, humans can go into these dimensions. When the Vikings came and killed nearly everybody here, raped people, took them in slavery, or simply murdered them, there was such a deep friendship between the humans then, the Irish peasants, and the hidden people that were here, that the hidden people took majority of the peasants into their world, and they never came back.
The people that live here on this area and around the glacier, they're very happy. Maybe we live with good people. We live with aliens. We live with elves and God.
Aliens, elves, and God.
Yes, yes, yes. Because we are so happy.
I think that's what he said, though I suppose it could have been aliens, elves, and cod.
It was from these wind-blasted black lava shores that the Vikings used to set off to raid Ireland and Scotland and the northeast of England. Apparently the Vikings regarded Geordie women as a particularly sought-after prize. They realised that anyone who could go out in Newcastle in midwinter in bare arms, no tights and white stilettos would be able to put up with the rigours of the Icelandic winter.
The Vikings wiped out most of the original inhabitants of Iceland, so I suppose the current population is of largely Viking descent. Not terribly Christian, the Vikings, but very big on magic.
Do people call this black magic or white magic?
There is no black magic and there is no white magic. There is only the magic. It is the power inside you, around you, and it's with you all the time. You simply use the power.
Right.
You use it to transform around you or inside you, but you don't actually take. And you must be careful what you ask for. But you have to accept what you get.
Just like life.
Yes.
People are looking for something outside themselves. They're using gods that somebody else has chosen for them. But gods, really, the old gods, they are layers within you. We say for Thor, it's all the power within. We call it believing in one's might and main. Eir, that's the goddess of healing. Do you know what it means, Eir? It's actually tranquility or peace within. And what's real health? It's just the peace you find within.
Now you've been traveling around Iceland and you see that those rooms are carved in stones. This is the power in the rocks.
Where does that power come from? What do you think you're tapping into?
Well, when you carry them around, you will both tap a power out of them, and also you will put some of your character into it. But they will only tell you where you are, what today is, your possibilities, and why you are where you are today. And maybe like a weather forecast for tomorrow. But weather forecast in rooms are just like weather forecast in Iceland.
Well, it's about 11:30, almost noon, and it seems this is about as light as it's going to get today. It's also blowing a howling gale, and everywhere stinks of sulphur. Optimum conditions, really, for a bit of earth energy healing.
I'd come to visit New Age artist Margaret Eliasdottir for a healing session. First, though, she had to establish what was wrong with me.
How can I help you? What do you want?
Well, I'm aware of needs beyond the physical, but don't properly know how to address them. And I'm suspicious of belief systems.
Rightfully so. I would need to scan you for a while, if you allow me.
Yeah, how do you do that?
I close my eyes, okay?
Yeah? You want to do that now? Want to scan me now?
This was all a bit too Californian for me, especially with so much indigenous elf energy going begging. Still, in next to no time, my failings were glaringly obvious.
Well, what I sensed, first of all, is like that you don't really believe that you're capable of experiencing deeper spiritual states. Because your body language is telling me, too, that you need to open up more in order to let the energy in.
Right, how can I do that then?
In a country where nothing is quite what you expect, the Blue Lagoon is a less than conventional beauty spot. I felt sure that Margaret had already interpreted the fluffy toweling bathrobe as a sure sign that I wasn't that eager to open up and feel the flow. And she was absolutely right.
Okay. Try to be as much with yourself, and whatever feeling comes up, you just breathe into it. Try to do that as much as possible.
But once in the water, a Methodist traffic warden would be hard-pushed not to have a near-mystical experience. The steam, the sulphur, and the hot water on the body were bliss itself, especially after eel for breakfast. Margaret asked me when I wanted to get out. From the air temperature, next summer seemed a good option. But I had an appointment at the glacier.
Well, I've just had the most extraordinary journey. I've been skidding in the car across sheet ice surface over broken lava field at the foot of a glacier, following the local priest and an ex-MP. We're here to welcome the aliens. This is the weirdest thing I've done for a couple of weeks.
4 years ago, 3 local people said they encountered an alien craft on the glacier. Every year since, on the anniversary of the incident, the villagers have assembled at the spot to welcome the aliens who, like the elves, are believed to occupy another dimension. As we watched the skies in anticipation, I heard a familiar voice. It was Magnus from the University Elf Department. Small country, Iceland.
Við skulum aðeins hugsa aftur til geimverana. Mikið væri nú gaman að sjá ykkur og eða minnst þú þessu skynja nærveru ykkar. Við erum vinir, okkur langar að hitta ykkur, okkur langar að sjá ykkur. Best af öllu væri þið vildu koma hérna og taka í spaðinn á okkur. En það fæst nú víst ekki.
Everyone was waiting for something to happen. And then, before our startled eyes, it did. I hadn't really been expecting the aliens to manifest themselves, and in a way, I suspect, neither had the villagers. But nor had they trekked out here just for a fireworks show. They were here because they believed in something other than a Christian God, though they believed in him as well, and because they wanted to share that belief with their neighbours, friends and families.
This is the 4th year we do it, and we always find the energy from the glacier very good. Especially these moments and these occasions here, we find much more energy and stream and sensitive feelings from here than usually.
Right. Is it true that this is a good place to come to if you want to make a baby?
Yes.
Yeah?
There's many people who come here from another land. Some have not baby. They come here on this area or stay here maybe 2-3 days, 2-3 nights. They're not sleeping. When they go to back, 9 months later, they have baby. Yes, that's right.
They probably do it in summer.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah yes, summer. I'm told it's a small window of erotic opportunity, but for most of the year, the ancient weather gods are still in control.
Well, even though officially Icelanders are Christian, it's very easy to see that they are not. Every religion is about finding something that's superior to yourself. And you can't go around this country not feeling inferior. 1,000 years ago, they left the old Nordic gods and took up Christian gods. But the faith wasn't in the gods. It wasn't our faith in the statues. This country talks so strong to you, and you can't go around this country not feeling inferior. You can't change this. You can't control it. It's impossible. Icelanders don't control this land. They simply have to accept how it is and live with it. So a statue has no meaning in a crazy weather. And there are no gods as much spoken of in Iceland as the weather gods.
That was the last in the series. Next Sunday, Joe Leyburn fights for personal justice in a new series. Joe Public investigates at 7:15.